Greetings! You did not click on the Buckeye Report with Scott Felton, but instead you have clicked on St. Paul's podcast Beyond the Sermon. During this time, we will look beyond the words that our pastors have preached that are full of life. I am your host, Michael Sinn. And today, I have Pastor Josh joining me. Say, what's up?
What's up? Oh man, that you have no idea. That has deep roots in me and my best friend's friendship.
Oh,
from,
yeah?
from a spoof movie, but yeah.
Absolutely. Well, do you know the origin of this word?
American.
It was invented by an American company.
Was it Bud Light?
Yeah, it was. Well, Anheuser-Busch
Okay.
is the
I remember those commercials.
head person of in charge of Bud Light, Budweiser, Busch Light, all those beers. So yeah, it was invented by a beer company, and it grew overnight all because of a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. Oh man, marketing has some effects.
Indeed, it does. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting thing on that. So I don't know. We played out we'll do some words that you get to know the origin of for that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of before we begin a little bit, how are you enjoying this weather?
Well,
It was 70 on Sunday, and then 63 yesterday when I got in, and then it dropped 40 degrees
Yep.
in just a couple hours.
Yeah, not so much. As we look out my office window right now, it is snowing. We're recording it on Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St.
At what
Patrick's
time?
Day at 10:57 a.m.
All right, good. You got to put that time in there as well.
Yes, that's true. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, I love snow, and you know that for a
Yes.
fact. But I'm ready to do some outdoor running. I don't do good with winter running.
To quote Solomon, there's a time and a place for everything. The time and the place has passed for this.
Yes. And it was like pellets, too. It wasn't even flakes.
Yes. It was like going into hyperspeed in Star Wars,
Yeah.
where, driving through that last night
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Well, I kind of wonder, too, if the meteor that struck Lake Erie an hour ago also played a factor in this, too.
It does make you wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch, we'll probably find out something about the meteor that, at the time of recording it, we didn't know, but then by the time it's released, it'll be, obvious and, oh, that, has this to do with it or
Yeah.
whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, there's people out there that will say Ohio doesn't exist. And who knows, maybe Jesus is in that meteor and he's coming back and he's picked Ohio to begin with.
Are we?
And then other states will have to acknowledge us. All right, well, that's enough jibber jabbering. Should we begin on your sermon?
Let's do it.
All right. So, one of the things that I like about you is, you're a good Lutheran. And, however, what is the one thing that Lutherans hate?
Change.
100% correct on that. So I'm going to change the order of things and ask my most important question first. So, bam! How did you get to Jesus in your sermon?
Yeah, it threw me off. Normally that's your last question, so.
Yes, it is.
I was wondering where you're going with that. In a way, I started and ended with him. I started with talking about how, because I had several people that mentioned this, and I was this way too until somebody pointed it out to me in college. John 17, understanding that Jesus was actually praying for us. That is crazy, and that is so cool. In fact, side note, do you know the band I Am They?
Yes. Yeah, they were at the National Youth Gathering in 2019.
Yep. Yeah, they were. That was right when they were starting to come up. But their name is actually based on this passage. The they in that Jesus is praying for, that they would be one, and that they would be unified that's who, like, that's what the name is. I am they. I am the they that Jesus was praying for. So, fun fact. But yeah, on the night before he was tortured and killed, when he would experience separation from his Father, he was praying for us. And then I elaborated on that later. But how, Jesus allowed his perfect unity, which we don't even understand. Like, for example, my wife and I, we are a team. Like, we truly, like, if we were to play compatibility with, like, any couple in the congregation, any number of couples, I bet we would win. Like, that's how in sync we are, and as a team that we are. And I will take on any challengers. We will take on any challengers, by the way.
For like a relay, half marathon race?
Compatibility. Do you know that game?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I thought you meant any competition.
Oh, no. Well, don't get crazy.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No, compatibility is like to see how in sync, how alike you and your partner think.
Oh, okay.
And so all this to say, we are a really good team. We think similarly, and we're not even close to. We don't even touch the bottom of the least amount of. Well, I don't know where I'm going with that. We don't even. I'm gonna say what I said in the 9:45 service when I butchered the benediction and had to start over. I'm gonna blame it on being sick. You could probably hear it in my nasaliness. But we don't even compare to the unity that Jesus had with God the Father and God the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And he gave that up for a time to make us one. Like those two things, that Jesus prayed for you and that Jesus gave up his perfect unity for you, like, don't let that pass by. Like seriously, that is incredible. We think about the torture and the death, but those things on their own are remarkable. Mm-hmm. That Jesus knew what he was about to face. He prayed for us, and that Jesus willingly allowed himself to be separated from his Father for us. So yeah, that's how I got to Jesus.
All right, excellent. I'm thinking I probably shocked you with this question order, and so speaking of being shocked, was there a part of the sermon that you think that you shocked people or you caught them off guard?
Yes, and I don't think I've ever had a reaction quite like I did on Sunday, where people like audibly gasped in shock when I asked how many Christian denominations there are. And it's funny because I think in the 8:15 service I mentioned this, but I was teaching the new member class last week, and a question came up, and we were talking about denominations, and I said, yeah, there's about 25,000 Christian denominations. And then I fact-checked myself when I was preparing for the sermon, and I was blown away by the fact that there are 45,000. And, these different denominations, it's like, it's not just saying Lutheran, Presbyterian, Baptist. It's like, okay, there's the LCMS Lutheran, there's ELCA, there's Wells, that kind of denominational breakdown. But it should be shocking that there is such disunity in the body of Christ. So, yeah, there were people audibly gasping when I said that number. And I love, some people started off like saying like, I led people into the trap of thinking like, all right, throw out a crazy number, and somebody's like 1,000. Oh man, that's pretty high, isn't it? Not even close. So yeah.
Well, I know that was definitely one thing that shocked me as well when you were announcing that. Like, 45,000 different Christian sects that we do have on that. And so, like, I don't know, you talked a little bit about it, but is there any more, like, bits of information that you want to share on that? Or move on to the next question?
Yeah, I did say this on Sunday, but not all of those 45,000 are Christian denominations, right?
Yeah.
Like, Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, they would call themselves Christian, but they don't hold to the Trinity or, proper understanding of who Jesus is. So, realistically, that number is probably 30,000.
Yeah.
30,000 folks is still a whole stinking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it stinks because the Reformation was necessary. It was important, but it also did lead to this, because before then, there was the church.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the church needed to be reformed, which this is something that people might not be aware of or might need to be reminded of. When Luther and the Reformers reformed the church, I'll quiz you, did they want to create their own denomination?
No, they did not. They wanted unity back, and Luther, if I remember correctly, he also didn't want to be named after him either.
Yes.
He didn't want to take credit for a split.
Right. You are right on both those accounts. Yeah. Yeah, so he wanted literally to reform the church, not to splinter it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was necessary, but it is one of those unfortunate consequences that came from the Reformation.
Well, and that wasn't necessarily the first split either, right? Like, there was the Great Schism.
Yeah, that's where, I think, is that where Orthodoxy came from?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the back of my mind, I was thinking about that when I said there was the church, but yeah. So
but it was still declared the church.
Yes.
Even back then.
Yeah. So, those darn reformers.
I know. All right. My next question I have for you is, why did you decide to preach on John 17 specifically?
Well, this was a week where the readings for this week were very difficult. There was a lot of, like when I looked at the texts that were available, there were only two options. There was this one, and then there was John 16, where Jesus talked about how the world hates you because it first hated me.
Mm-hmm.
Which we do see that a little bit in John 17. But I figured, and there's a fine sermon in that John 16. There's the John 16:33, one of people's favorite verses. I've told, in this world there will be tribulation, but I have told you these things so that in me you may, I'm butchering it. There will be tribulations, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Yeah, I think that's right.
I could not tell you, confirm yes or no.
All right, well,
if I'm honest.
People at home, look it up. I'm pretty sure. And if not, guess what I'm going to blame it on?
The snow?
Sure. No, being sick. But I just thought, rather than talk about the world around us, let's talk about inside, like the inner workings. And I did have a number of people that thanked me for preaching on this, and like that really, that was, well, I'm sure you're going to get to this question, but that was part of the goal. So I'll save that in case you want to ask that question or not. But
I think I know where you're going with that. Yeah, I do have a question for you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Did you have anything that you needed to cut from your sermon for the sake of getting the congregation to Eucharist faster?
Yes, and honestly, I'm going back and forth on whether it was the right decision. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm flipping the tables a lot.
I don't like this. I'm supposed to be the interviewer.
Yes. Do you remember the sharing of the peace?
Yeah, like right before. Well, I know my church that I grew up in they did theirs like within the first 2 minutes after it started. And
yes.
And I know the internship church that I was at, they did it right before the sermon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and some did it like right before the closing song. So it's like, it kind of goes from place to place. But it makes the most sense in the very beginning.
Yes.
But I remember my sister, she probably wouldn't care if I shared this. Like the oldest one, she would purposely arrive later to avoid the sharing of the piece because she did not like to shake hands. So I won't say which sister it is, but if she's listening, she knows which one it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so I did know the sharing of the piece, and
okay.
I was told. I think we used to do that here.
Yes.
When I came to interview with you all.
Yeah.
And ever since 2020, then it kind of disappeared, hasn't made its way back in rotation.
Yeah. So I was, the history of it, which I actually learned a little bit about, it comes from, in a lot of, towards the end of a lot of Paul's letters, he'll say, greet each other with a holy kiss. And so it started out as sharing the holy kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And then that evolved to sharing of the peace, which I think in some churches evolved to go ahead and greet your neighbor, right? Like just saying good morning.
Yeah.
But my understanding, and there's two ways that I've heard it. One I think makes more sense, but basically it's if you like, let's say you and I got into a fight or a disagreement, argument, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and there is unresolved conflict between us. We're about to go commune at the Lord's table together. There should not be disunity among us, right? Like
Yeah.
communion is a union with our brothers and sisters and also with the Lord. It's kind of like how you would not want to eat across from the dinner table with somebody you just had a big fight with, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be awkward. You're not unified. So you go up to people and you would say, God's peace be with you, right? And so I heard this two ways. One is, hey, let's agree to set this aside for right now and we'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, we're actually going to take time right now and hash it out. So I've heard both ways, but I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about sharing the peace, like doing that like right after the sermon, preparing for communion. But there were a number of reasons, logistical reasons, that I decided not to. But
Yeah.
I did think about it, and there's part of me that kind of wishes I had, but I'm also all right with not having done that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, especially not feeling too good too. Yeah, I wouldn't want to share that stuff either.
Yeah. Sharing the peace and sharing something else.
Yeah. All right. Well, now my last sermon question that I have for you is: how did you intend for your sermon to benefit me and the rest of St. Paul within our faith walk?
Yeah. I think there were two ways. The first way I don't think applied to everybody. Well, you could say that you either fell into one of these groups, but I think everybody fell into the second one.
Yeah.
The first one was for people who either are just worship online, exclusively just kind of by choice, which that's fine. I would rather have them hear that than nothing. But then but also people who and I should just say all these people that I'm talking about, we love them. We love you if you're listening, but we want you to be a part of the community, right? Like I shared my dream that I have, where it's like if somebody's missing from worship for a while, that other people would know them enough and care enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna go check in on them.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I had somebody, I won't share what congregation or what, but there was somebody who is kind of ironic, was worshiping here on Sunday, and afterwards this person came up to me and they were like, at my old church, which this was a long time ago, she said, oh, I just revealed the gender. Oh well, I don't think that reveals too much. But she was like, it was a smallish church in Ohio, and she was like, my dad died and not one single person reached out to me. It's that kind of thing. Like Luther talks about it. Like if one part of the body hurts, the whole rest of the body goes down to support and comfort it. Right? You stub your toe, you don't just walk it off. Right? Your whole body goes down and your hands rub your toe. Like to make it feel better. But it's like a whole body thing, and like that's the exact kind of thing I was talking about. Yeah. And like she stopped going to church for a while, and praise be to God that she was here, and I pray she comes back. But that's what I want. The opposite of what happened, where there's something that happens in the life of somebody, or somebody is absent, that other people notice and other people care, and that only happens if you are involved, if you know people, right? So that was the first part. The second part, which I think can apply to everybody, but especially happens the more you become one with others, is we do a lot that disunifies us. That we sin, and I see it, I hear about it, and we know we're gonna sin, right? It's about what do we do? Do we continue it? Do we tackle it head on? Do we act like it's not a big deal? So calling people to live as one. So those are kind of the two main focuses for the life of the hearer.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, that is all the sermon questions that I have for you. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we move on to everyone's favorite section?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Very good. All right. Now it's time for the deer in the headlights question. Now, for the listeners at home, Pastor Josh here and I are the closest to age in this office. Because we're less than 2 years apart from one another in age. So I don't think there's anyone else. And so there are times where we can recall stuff from our childhood that no one else is going to gather from that. And so even just hearing your children's message on Sunday just brings that point, nails that down even further when you were talking about that. And so I remember trying to collect all those Inspector Gadget toys, and I never got one as a whole. So I was jealous, and I told you that.
Yeah, you did
yesterday. That was awesome. So that might be breaking the ninth commandment a little bit. I was a little envious of that.
You're forgiven.
But that's okay because of that enviness, it got me to think about my question for this. So, if you could inherit any go-go gadget ability that would be on you, but instead you would have to say, Joshy gadget blank. And so, I have Inspector Gadget's list recall right there. Or you could come up with a new one, or one that that was from the 80s show, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think it includes the one from the Matthew Broderick movie.
Okay.
That was the Happy Meal toys were based on. Which I will say, I did laugh when one of the kids at the 11 o'clock show was like, yeah, they're not as good as they used to be.
Oh, that was perfect.
I know. That was so true.
That was so good. There are all these things that I didn't even know about.
Would you want the go-go gadget or the Joshy Sparks when you push that head down the chest?
Kids were enamored with that.
Yeah.
Well, before you said anything, I was going to go with go-go gadget arms.
Okay.
So the extendable, how many times it's I just sat down and I forgot to get this thing that's 5 feet from me.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I'm a little bit lazy, I guess.
Okay. So you would have to say what? You can't even say it.
Joshy arms.
You have to be more enthusiastic than what you do it.
Joshy arms.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was perfect. I need to make that my ringtone. Call.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was I was looking through that list too. It's there was a lot on there. It's
Yeah.
I don't think I really remember that either.
No, not at all.
I didn't know if I don't know. I thought you were gonna do jetpack.
I would hurt myself with a lot of these, I'm sure.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm pretty klutzy.
Oh, okay.
It'd be fun, but...
Yeah, it would be. Just think how much you would save on gas money.
That's true.
By doing that.
I don't think Abby would be a fan, though, when I take her to school.
Oh, I don't know. She could be a thrill seeker. That might make her be a thrill seeker, actually. So that might be the opposite of what you want to do for that, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for hearing me on repeating what it would actually be. That is also going to be our show for today. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Beyond the Sermon. And next week, I will be interviewing Pastor Smith. I am your host, Michael Sinn, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Goodbye.